How's it going, people? What we saying? Hope you are all well. We are back for another show. We've got myself and lead judges, and we've got Sean in the house, and Henry should be here very, very soon, but he's got technical issues. Sean, long time, man. How you been, bro?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, good. Looking forward to what should be a cracking game tomorrow night. It's good to be back on the channel. Good to see you too. And as I say, just anything that's disappointing is that I still reside on the bottom half of the screen. So
it could have been so different. It could have been so different.
It really could have, man, and it really kind of should have, if I'm honest, the way I see it. But listen, we're still top for now. On the not top of the league.
It wouldn't have mattered though. It wouldn't have mattered because of Lee's like hiatus around the world. We would have been technically above you, and then by the time we got to do this again, you guys would have gone back above because of your Crystal Palace.
Oh yeah, because of Crystal Palace game. Yeah.
So true, man.
So true. Edged me bets there, didn't I? I made sure that I had both runners going there,
You did. I must admit, it was quite funny because I thought, judges will be back and it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be one of these games where it's, hang on a minute, judges have gone on holiday again. Lovely. So, listen, back. I obviously had a good time, Lee. Back, Arsenal back the winning ways. Well, for the winning way for the first game. But we get a break this weekend. I'm actually going away with the family, which would be nice for my mum's 60th, so I can chill out and relax. But you Tottenham boys can't chill out, mate. You're literally under the lights tomorrow night, Sean, and it's going to be an absolute cracker, mate. It is going to be one of those games that you all want to be playing. And I say that because you do want to be playing it. However, perhaps you don't want to be playing it this early in the competition. So, first of all, Sean, what did you think when Tottenham got that draw? And what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I was doing a live stream with Henry at the time on his channel. And I think he was like 5 seconds behind me or whatever. And I was like, it's not, is it? It is. It's City. And he went, shut up. No, it can't be. I was like, no, it is. And we were both devastated. But then the more it sort of sank in, I was like, you know what? I reckon Man City fans are going to be more or just as devastated at the prospect of playing Tottenham in the Cup away as we are. We got decent form. And if we're going to lose, if we're going to go out of the Cup, I know this sounds a bit kind of maybe defeatist, but I'd rather go out tomorrow and then get it out of the way than get to the semi-final and then lose at Wembley, because you're going to face disappointment. If you're going to go out of the Cup, I'd rather get it out of the way so we can focus on trying to get myself back up to the top of this screen, over the coming weeks and months. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a brilliant game. I expect Manchester City to finally break their scoring duck at the stadium, but I still think, I think the game's going to be one of those end to end. Both teams are going to score both halves. It could be a 3-2 either way. Could be a draw. Could go back to the Etihad. I don't think it will be a domination either side. I think it will be a close game and a real, lots of chances, and depends who takes them, the higher percentage on the night. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing James Maddison back. Glad that Haaland isn't back quite yet. And we've got hopefully a relatively strong 11 going into it. So should be able to put up a decent fight. I'll say that,
Yeah, you have got a decent 11 when it's all fit, and it's starting to look like you're getting everybody back now. Maddison's a massive, massive boost for you, 100%. But let me ask you about the importance of this competition as a Spurs fan. Would you rather have 4th place in Champions League or 6th place in an FA Cup?
Sixth place. This year, 6th place is Europa League, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sixth place, and Europa League and an FA Cup for sure would be a perfect season for us right now.
That's the correct answer, Sean. That's the correct answer. The amount of Tottenham fans that say to me, I want Champions League, just top 4, just give me top 4. And I think that's why you don't win nothing. That's why you get bantered all the time, because you don't win trophies. Go and get a trophy, man. Jeepers. Unbelievable. Anyway, listen, I think it's going to be a cracker, I must admit. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably going to try and sneak and watch it while I'm away. And I do think it would be a good game. I've predicted Man City to win, but you're right. They ain't scored a goal at your ground, which is incredible, by the way. I can't believe that. That is actually a stat that Man City have not scored at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That is absolutely insane. Judges, how'd you see this one going, bruv?
Listen, first and foremost, I was over in Thailand, and I was on the plane when the draw was being made. A Manchester City fan was in front of me. Had the shirt on and all that, and I turned around and said, "Oh, He went, better knock them out, like, you know what I mean? And he went, I'm not happy about that. He said, like, they're our bogey team, like, So I said, really? I said, yeah, we haven't won, said the same thing, ain't scored there. He said it could have been, weren't the greatest draw for them, away from home. So that was my first. I thought, wow, like, I thought Man City would be confident going to any place. And then I got over to my brothers, of course, they're all Spurs fans and all that. And he made the same sort of point which Sean's made there. He said, listen, I'd rather take them on at home than take them on neutral ground at Wembley or something like that, or whatever, So I looked at that and I thought, you're right, really. If you get to the semi-final and play Man City, playing at Wembley, there's certainly that. So the advantages are really with Tottenham, I think. I mean, they're at home. I've got a bit on a bit of a roll. I thought they was very, very good against Manchester United, the other team from Manchester. I watched that game with all the Spurs lot, and thankfully come out of it with a draw, so we was all sort of happy at the end of the day. Well, I have to say I was impressed with Spurs that game, and I've seen people going, "Oh, like Man City, this is." Well, I don't see it like that. I think I can quite easily see Spurs winning this game. I can quite easily see it like Maddison's back in the squad. Big Arsenal fan, I found out the other day. Did you know that? Like massive Arsenal fan, like
I heard that,
and admitted it, like he lives round my way, and a couple of people see him walking his dog.
Should have had him, man. I wanted him, Lee. Told you.
Yeah, but where he'd play it would have been a difficult one. I know
he would walk into Arsenal. He'd walk into Arsenal, man.
I don't not in the system, Dan. It's him or Odegaard, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? I don't think you could play both
with him. You can't tell me that he would do a worse job than Havertz in that role.
Well, I don't think Havertz played. Well, I don't think he would, but I don't think that was the role that set out for him. I think he's a playmaker, number 10, and a very, very good one. But I don't think you can have two in there. That's my opinion. Because he did better than Havertz. Well, yeah, he could, but at the end of the day,
so could Sean, I reckon.
Well, yeah, but there is other parts of the game where you have to get stuck in and make tackles and things like that, which is what Havertz has been doing. But that's not Maddison's game. Maddison's one of those players that's on the ball. But listen, the question was
if we had Sonny, I'd say that Tottenham would be favourites. Just the abs, because Sonny's the guy who usually turns it on against Manchester City.
Yeah, he got that little counter-attack thing, haven't they? But just quickly saying about Maddison, he said, the question was, as an Arsenal fan, why didn't you go to Arsenal? His simple answer was, I didn't get an offer. So there you go. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. There wasn't an offer there, so he ain't going to go to somewhere where he's not. He can't force an offer. It wasn't there. It wasn't on the table. Wasn't there. Tottenham come in for him, and good luck to him. That's where he's decided to go and play. And listen, I still say this now. Arteta will die on the Havertz sword. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. Like, I think that he's got to make that work. And I think that I think that if Son was there, I still think that I like the way that they set up against City. They always cause problems against City. I think was it last season they were 2-0 up against them at the Etihad, I think, and then eventually lost. And but they always give it a go. And listen, there's always some teams, isn't there? And for whatever reason, you find difficult to get results against. And City find it very, very difficult against Spurs. It's been on. I think there was one, not so much last year. It was an opening game. I think it was Nuno was in charge, and they totally dominated it, Man City, and Tottenham won 1-0. So they've won it all different ways. So listen, I think it'll be an intriguing game tomorrow, and I can see Spurs winning. I can see it going to a draw. I can see Man City. I can't call it, guys. I really can't.
I just think there's going to be goals. I don't think that Tottenham will be able to. I'd love it if Tottenham could win 1-0 and keep the voodoo, because we've got to play them in the league later on this year as well at home, right? So it'd be nice to be able to carry on with that. They haven't scored at Tottenham Stadium going into the league game because it might be important, but I don't see it happening. I think that I think this time around, I think there could be 4 or 5 goals in the game, and I'm going to the game, so I'm excited for it. It's going to be one of those, hopefully a good night. But yeah, I'm with Lee. I'm with you, Leo. It's too close to call, I think, at this time.
I think the difference will be De Bruyne. Whether he plays or not.
That's the one for me.
He was the difference between the game against Newcastle. He was watching it in a bar out there, and it was like, I honestly say this now, there's vulnerabilities in Manchester City. I don't care what anybody says. They was vulnerable in that game. They were, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, they're going to lose this game. You know, it looked like they was going to lose it. You know, I didn't think they was going to, and then all of a sudden, on comes De Bruyne. We all turned around at the same time and said, Man City probably win this game now. Like, my God, they did. You know what I mean? And that's the difference between class and quality like that. You know, and my God, he produced it in 20 minutes, didn't he? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, incredible.
That pass to Oscar Bob. Unbelievable pass, yeah.
Well, he's a top talent. I think he's probably one of the best ever in Premier League history in terms of that position. I don't think there's many out there. A lot of people will talk about the midfielders at Premier League all time, and I think he's got to get into an all-time 11 for me. I just think he's just incredible, if I'm honest. So he's going to be a massive, massive plus for Man City. I've got Man City to win this one 2-1 just because of the players they have. I do think that obviously Haaland being out is massive for Spurs, but they can still score goals. It's not just now Haaland's out, that's it. Well, City won't score. It'll be 3-0 Spurs. Do you know what I mean? I just think that'd be foolish. I think it'll be 2-1 to City. I think it'll be a good game. I don't see it being a 3-2 or a 4-3 personally, but there's definitely the players in the pitch there that can make it that scoreline for sure. But I'm going to go for 2-1 to City. What did you say, Sean? 3-2, did you say, Spurs?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of goals in it.
What are you saying, Judge?
Oh, you know, if Spurs come out open and really open, then City win it. I think that if Spurs are cautious and like do what they normally do when they hit them on the break, they can win this. So I'm gonna sit on the fence and say it'd be a very, very entertaining 2-2.
Okay, interesting. Probably take that, Sean, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't want to go back to the Etihad. I'd rather get it done on the night, one way or the other.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let's talk about Tottenham a bit. I know that it's not been like we've been playing week in, week out. It seems like everyone's had this weird winter break and then a player game and then the other one has a break. But your players, when they're fit, are a good 11, mate. And on their day have proven that they can go and do some bits against teams. I think at the start of the season, Tottenham were very good and it was looking like Tottenham were going to do something under Ange Postecoglou. And I think there was a few people, doubters, one of them being myself, saying, yeah, they get a couple injuries. I think it could go towards top 4 race as opposed to title races, people were saying early on. And that's what it looked like it was going to be. But now you get some players back. Do you think, listen, you might go out, you might go through, but do you think now that you've got your team back pretty much, that you can start to go on a run again and start to put the pressure on the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, City?
No, I'm more sort of. I don't. I think we've got 8 points, 8 points difference between us and Liverpool right now. You know, for us to be able to go on to a title run, you know, we have to do whatever Liverpool does plus 3 wins more, which is just for me unthinkable with 16 games to play or 17 games to play. And even if Liverpool were to fall off, you know, have a massive fall from grace, we've still got to look for you know, for things to go differently for Aston Villa, for Arsenal, and for Manchester City as well. I just personally don't see it. I think we're very much in the top 4 race. I think we can very much look towards that, and you know, hopefully the 5th spot will go to a Champions League thing as well. So, you know, for me, the biggest game of the season for us is tomorrow. I want us to take that the most serious, and hopefully, if we can get past City and then get a fortunate draw and avoid Liverpool, let someone else try and take care of Liverpool. Then Tottenham can go on a decent cup run, and I think that should be our primary focus. But look, you still got to go put everything into every game. But I just think that when you're 8 points away, and you know, even though we've got a lot of players back, we're still missing Sonny for the next 2. I think at least the next 2. Premier League games, still missing Sarr and Bissouma. And whilst Bissouma, I think, is a little bit hit and miss, Sarr is so quintessentially important for us. Like when he's there, everything seems to tick a little bit more than it does when he's not. And obviously, Sonny is the guy who gets most of our goals. So, I just think that top four is my kind of is my expectation for the Premier League, and where within that, I'd third, fourth, or fifth for me is the most realistic thing. I think that Liverpool and City should be able to comfortably outperform us. Arsenal, I still think we've got a chance. I think we're still very much in a battle with Arsenal and Villa, but the other two I believe will pull away.
Fair play, man. Just quickly before I come to judges, you've obviously got some players out still you've mentioned, but they are all coming back. When they come back from the Asian Cup and obviously African and the Cup of Nations, you'll be able to have a fit squad. But for this game tomorrow, I'm guessing your team news will be similar to what we've seen in the last few. What's in particular your midfield and your front three? Like, what's it going to be, do you reckon?
I think a Bentancur will be in it in the midfield, and Maddison, and then the choice of who goes in the middle two, it will probably be, it will definitely be one of Højbjerg or Skip. Lo Celso's out injured, so it won't be him. And then whoever, Højbjerg or Skip, I would imagine he'll go with Skip, but I don't, it is, to me, they're much of a muchness. Neither of them really suit the system. Neither of them are brilliant. I probably would rather Højbjerg, but I think he'll probably choose Skip. And in terms of the front three, we found out Manor Solomon's not quite ready, so it'll probably be Timo Werner on the left and Richarlison up the top, and then probably one of Deki, Kulusevski, or Brennan Johnson. There is an outside chance. We've never really seen him do it, but there is an outside chance that if he really wants to shoehorn his best 11, then you'd keep Brennan Johnson on the right and you'd ask Kulusevski to play into a second 8, which I think he's capable of doing because he's strong and he's tough and he's good pass through the ball and he can kind of be combative in that regard. But we've never seen him play in that second 8 in the Premier League. So it'd be unusual for him to do that. And so if he doesn't, if he chooses a natural midfielder, one of Skippy or Højbjerg, then he's going to have to probably bench either one of Timo Werner or Brennan Johnson or Deki to make room for Maddison. But I personally would rather him play Kulusevski and then put Brennan Johnson on the bench and use him as an impact sub second half if necessary.
Would you not argue that Brennan Johnson do a better job than Timo Werner on the left, or is that just not an option?
It is an option. It certainly is. I've never seen Brennan Johnson play particularly well on the left. I think he started, like the last time he played on the left and had a decent performance was in the first 20 minutes against you lot at the Emirates, but then he came off with a hamstring injury. Since then, when he has played on the left-hand side, he's been fairly, ineffectual. And I think the problem for me that I have with Brennan Johnson is he doesn't get back and do any defensive work. And so I think that Kulusevski's best position in a Tottenham shirt is central in the 10, and Brennan Johnson's best position with the ball is on the right-hand side. But when you don't have Pape Sarr in the 6 or in the 8 covering all that ground, if you have Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side, then you can find that Pedro Porro can get seriously exposed in the transition. And I think against against City on tomorrow night, I think it's that'll be something that Pep would look to exploit. So for me, I think that if you have Deki, again, I keep saying Deki, if you have Kulusevski on the right-hand side, then at least he can get back, track back, and help out sort of defensively and give Pedro Porro some support. And similarly, Timo Werner can do the same thing, giving Destiny Udogie a little bit of love as well down the left, because if we leave either of them isolated in the transition, then they can bury us with like the likes of Doku. I'm not sure if Doku's fit, but whoever they choose on their width have got.
Yeah, that's the thing. They can put anyone there, can't they? Doesn't matter if it's Foden or Bernardo Silva or Dockett. They've got players, Grealish. There's so many they can choose from. Lee, let me come to you on Spurs question on Spurs, right? Because they've had a lot of injuries, man. Like, real talk, they have. I can't sit there and say that I'm crying about it, but I have to just be factual. They've had a lot of problems with their injuries. And some would say they've been quite impressed with how they've dealt with their squad. Now, a lot of that is probably on the manager because fair play to him. He's in charge at the moment. He's picking the side. But Sean's gone through that team there, and I'm even more confident Man City are going to win now, because I look at it and I think they're going to win the midfield battle there. I don't really rate that Skip, and Højbjerg is, from what I hear, wanting to go. I love Maddison. We've spoken about him, and I think Bentancur is a very good player. But I think Man City can dominate that midfield. And up top, I think they can keep Tottenham out if they've got Werner and Richarlison, who ain't exactly banging the goals in, week out. And of course, Kulusevski, don't know how many goals he's got, but he's not been flying. I think he come on the scene under Conte and looked good, but he's been better this season. But I don't look at him and go there, goal, 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 goal. So I've been quite impressed because I look at that when Sean's talking through it and I think that's not great, but Tottenham are still up there-ish. Do you know what I mean? So I think they deserve a little bit of credit, and this is hard for us to say, but I think they do deserve a bit of credit with how they've used their squad, Judge.
Yeah, very much so, and deserve to be there on merit at this moment in time. What I will say is that, listen, it doesn't matter what team Spurs put out. If Man City are on it, Man City win. They do that to most teams. That's the way it is. You know, like if Arsenal are really at it and all that, like, you know, if Rodri plays in that midfield straight away, you look at it and just think that they're good enough in midfield to dominate. Listen, I watched them against Newcastle, even though I felt they were vulnerable, they still dominated the ball. They dominate the ball probably a little bit tomorrow as well. Like, but that's where I don't think Tottenham fans and Tottenham are that worried, because Tottenham ain't a possession-based side. You know what I mean? They're a counter-attacking side and probably one of the best, if I'll be honest, at doing it. You know, that's why they get the results against City, because they counter-attack very, very well and they finish very, very well. So I don't think Tottenham would be too afraid if they lose the midfield battle tomorrow, because I don't think that's where the game's going to be won or lost. I think like they bypass that and try and what City do is, you know, at the end of it, we all know what they do. They bomb on and they leave gaps at the back, and Tottenham have exploited it in the past, and that will be where it'll be entertained tomorrow, because I think that City will go for it like they always do. And they do leave themselves open a little bit at the back. So, listen, Spurs have done really, really well with the injuries. That every team's had injuries. Tottenham have had their fair share, but they've dealt with them well. And what I've liked about Tottenham, well, I don't say like, but you have to begrudgingly like it, is the manager's not complained about it. He's just got on with it. Whatever's been there, that, you know, they've had to play like right backs at centre halves at times, and by their own choice, by the way. Don't go, oh, it's a fantastic thing and all that. That was his choice. He had centre halves there that he didn't want to use, so that was his choice. And you have to say that it worked for them. Like, you know, they've got through a very, very difficult spell, and it's really now where they've got. Can they kick on from that now? Like, you know, does Maddison come back? Is he going to fly, or is he going to struggle for a few weeks? And we'll wait and see. But I think that. Listen, Spurs fans are more than delighted where they are in the league at the moment. If you'd have said to them after that Chelsea game, coming into February, which it will be, or virtually into February, be 3 points behind Arsenal, they'd have took that. They'd have bit your hand off for that, like, you know, especially after losing, was it 4 or 5 games on the spin, you know. They would have bit your hand off for it. I will say begrudgingly, I think it's been a very, very good comeback from Spurs after those defeats. Picked up some good results, you know. They had that one against Brighton, which seems to be forgotten, because like there were other results around that took the headlines. But for me at this moment in time, you know, listen, I say that you look at the game tomorrow, most teams would be thinking, oh, that's a City win. I don't see it like that. You know, I actually see that, you know, that Tottenham have got a chance tomorrow. And that is a worrying thing for me. They've gone up to Man United, and whether you think they didn't get enough chances, that they dominated the game. Okay, I know that Man United are poor, but it's still Old Trafford. You still got to go there and put in a performance. And also, what I have to give them credit for is that as soon as they went 1-0 down in that game, I was watching it, and you know, like, I know you're different when you've got Spurs people. They're going, oh, I said, yeah, you'll score in a minute. You'll score in a minute, because you know, you see it differently, didn't you? Like, you know, and then you know, they got the goal against Manchester United, and I felt should have probably gone and won that game, like, you know. So I think it'd be a really interesting game tomorrow. I do think that Manchester City will cause problems with their front players. Like they do on most occasions. They've got very, very good players, and we'll have to see how it goes from that point of view. Listen, you know, I have to say also, when you see Skip in midfield, you think, right, this is great. You know, he's going to get mugged off or whatever. Like, you know, he hasn't. He hasn't been mugged off in any sort of game this season. So, listen, we'll have to. Listen, I've got my Man City hat on ready for tomorrow. I'll be singing Blue Moon and all that tomorrow. But we'll wait and see. But I think that Spurs at this moment in time can be very, very pleased with what they're doing. It's very interesting what Sean said there, that he sees that Liverpool and City are the two teams that he feels are going to get away. I think now that I agree with that at the moment, but Arsenal now have got to prove over these next few weeks that they can go away from teams as well, because I've not been convinced of Arsenal. Where I've looked at Liverpool, I watched Liverpool yesterday. I got no doubt that Liverpool were not going to win or get through that semi-final yesterday. I just felt that they was going to get through it. So, and Arsenal haven't really done enough for me to convince Arsenal fans, let alone neutral fans, that they're ready to just to kick on as well. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks now,
Yeah, 100%, man. Listen, before we move to Arsenal, Sean, right? I want to ask you quick, bruv. We talk about the first 11 of Spurs and the first 11 of Arsenal. How many, if you do a combined 11 with Arsenal and Spurs, which I hate doing, by the way, but I was asked this yesterday, how many players do you think are absolute dead certs in the team? Like, no debate, they're going in.
What, from Tottenham side?
From either, so say that player is definitely in, and we can debate the others. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's about sort of half and half. I think that Tottenham probably snatched the fullbacks on this season's form. And it's different. I can't. I don't know what Udogie was like really last year or whatever, but I think Udogie's been the better left back of the two teams. I'd probably go the Pedro Porro. I think Pedro Porro has been brilliant. I think he's got the second or third highest assists in the Premier League. So I'd probably say that Tottenham get the centre backs. You can make the argument. I know Tottenham have been without a lot of our centre backs for a long time, so you could make an argument based on longevity and the consistency of the performance. I think your centre backs are fantastic. I think ours are as well, fully fit. But you could make the argument that pick any particular combination, Gabriel and Saliba or Van der Ven. I think or Romero on his day. But I'm happy to have that debate. But on the fact that you guys have played and had that consistency, I'd say that Arsenal probably could get those centre backs in. The midfield, I think Maddison gets in above Odegaard this year. I think that Sarr would get in over Havertz, and I think Declan Rice definitely gets in fact, over Bissouma, because Bissouma's form has dropped off and Bentancur's only been here for a little while. And then the front three, I don't think either team's front threes have really been firing. I think that you can pick. I think Sonny should get in there. I think Saka probably. Saka definitely gets in ahead of our right winger at the moment, and Martinelli, probably gets in. But I think that both front threes have been pretty ropey all season. And goalkeeper wise, Vicario definitely gets in above either of Rayo or Ramsdale. So it's about 50-50, mate. I'd say.
It's good that you say that, because I talk to a lot of Spurs fans, and some of them say, "Oh, well, I don't think there's any Arsenal players who get in." And I think, "Oh my god!" But I do listen to what you're saying. I actually agree with United, Spurs of America. I'm going to give you all these players. I think Vicario, you missed out 100%, walks in ahead of Raya this year anyway. Porro and the doggy, I think, have been class, and Maddison and Son. You can talk about Sarr. I think I listen. I don't watch Tottenham as much as you, Sean, and I respect you. So I say, well, how good he's been. But everyone I have spoken to as a Spurs fan have said this kid's been quality for you, Sarr, this season. Obviously, Bentancur was out for a long time, I believe, and he came in and was looking really good. So I put him ahead of Havertz. But obviously for us, I'm taking our centre halves. I think Van der Ven and Romero together are very good, and I think Van der Ven was outstanding for you until he got injured. But the Gabriel and Saliba partnership is immense at the moment. That's probably one of the only positives we have had this year, to be fair, has been them two and Rice. So it's good that you say, for me, they're the ones. I honestly believe they're the ones, man. I know James Maddison hasn't been playing for a long time, but the kid is ridiculously good, man. I really wanted him at Arsenal, so that's where I'm at with it, man. Listen, judges, let's move to Arsenal. Thomas Partey's back, bruv. Woohoo! I said this with Sam on my channel earlier, and he went, he's the Thiago back. That's when we get he's a Liverpool fan. When we get Thiago back, it's like getting Thomas Partey back. He'll be fit at home to Bournemouth, will go away at Anfield and he'll be injured. And it's kind of like that with Thomas Partey, I feel. So I'm hoping that we can actually get the consistency of this guy now, because if he is actually going to remain fit, we are definitely better in our midfield, Lee. So when he does come back, whether it's going to be against Forest, whether he's going to come off the bench, do you think we'll finally see Partey, Rice and Ødegaard in midfield, or is he going to play him at bloody right back again?
Well, like that's the midfield, you know what I mean? If fully fit and operational, that's the midfield, and that is a midfield that most teams are going to struggle against. But whether Partey's going to be fit enough, I don't know. Like, you know, I can't see him. Listen, the last time he played was City won it at home. 15 minutes from the end, it was touch and go who was going to win that game. He come on, and in my opinion, I know Martinelli got the goal, but he was the one that changed the game, took it in our favour. Hopefully he'll get 20, 25 minutes in that game there, and then he'll be ready for the Liverpool game. Like that's what I'm looking. Hopefully he's had a couple of games behind closed doors. You don't know, but like I'd like to see him up and running and going. And then you know, we don't know what's happening with Declan Rice at this moment in time. He's unfortunately he ain't training at the moment. Like, I don't know how long term that is. I think we're fortunate that he's got 10 days off. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But that's what we're looking at. I think that takes us over. That takes us, if he plays and plays really, really well, that takes us, I think, into another dimension going forward. Like, because I don't think many midfields are better than that and will dominate that. And Partey also gives us something from the base, which I don't think that we've had. Even though Declan Rice has been fantastic for us, I look at it last season and go, if you was going to name the two best holding midfield players in the league, you go Rodri and Partey last season.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with what Sean's saying now. I don't think that Arsenal's team this season have hit the heights of last season, and certainly not got to a level where I think at the end of the day we should be. I think Ben White, I wouldn't swap Ben White for anybody, but this on current form, you'd have to turn around and say he wouldn't get in the combined team, you know what I mean, which is ridiculous. The same with Zinchenko, you know, I laugh at you last season if you was putting any of Spurs' defence in there, but you know, you're not going to do that. The goalkeeper walks into the team at this moment in time, as far as I'm concerned, he's been the signing of the season. I know everybody goes on about Maddison, but like, he's been fantastic. I think he saved Spurs time and time again this season. We made some fantastic saves. So he gets in there, and I agree with Sean. Really, like, you know, the front three of Arsenal's has been poor. You know, Saka ain't been at his best, and I don't think Tottenham's has as well. If there's only the one player that's improved, yes, Song would get in it. But he's definitely improved from last season, and probably, you know what I mean, like, Richarlison's improved from last season as well. Like, you know, from the stands of the last season.
And it got much worse than last season, though.
I know it couldn't, you know, but you still got to improve. You still got, you know, and he has done that. And I think with Ødegaard as well, he's not hit the heights of last season. I wouldn't swap him. You know, if you're saying me, oh, would you have Ødegaard? You know, swap Maddison and Ødegaard? I wouldn't. But on current form, well, up until he got injured, you'd have to say that, you know, you would say that Maddison was better. But then you look at last season's performances of Ødegaard, there was no one near him, you know. Yeah. But we've not hit those forms. We've not hit those performances. And I know, like, we beat Crystal Palace 5-0, but, you know, I'd expect Tottenham to beat them 5-0. I expect a lot of teams to beat them 5-0 at the moment, because they're the worst team I've seen for a very, very long while, Dan.
Them and Sheffield United are the worst.
Yeah, the worst two teams that I've seen this season. The worst two teams. And I'm going to be really honest. We spoke about that earlier on today. And Sheffield United have improved a little bit since then, Dan, because they've got a new manager and everything like that. But they've been the worst two by a long way. So for me, Arsenal.
You getting that early goal though against Palace. Like, if a team like Palace goes away to a team like Arsenal, the only hope they've got is to sit in and frustrate you and get to half time 0-0, right? But if you get that first goal in the first 5 minutes, like you did, I think it was in the first 5 minutes, then they got to come out and play, and then they just opened up like a can of baked beans, you know, and then it's just easy to go and put several past. But if they had sat in and frustrated you, then that's the only way that they could have got something out of the game, but didn't work out.
Yeah, and you know, early goals you do need. That's I think the first time Arsenal scored in 10 minutes all season. Like, you know, I haven't done it. You know, so you know, and you're right, Sean. As soon as you get that early goal, you get five. You know, you get 5 goals. I didn't think we deserved to get 5 goals in the game. I don't think we played exceptionally well in that day. But listen, it weren't about performances and whatever. It was about getting the result, and you have to now build on that. And Arsenal now have to start making some real inroads into winning games. Listen, Nottingham Forest is not going to be easy, Dan. We know that it's a tough place. The last couple of times that we've been there, it's been very, very difficult, and it's going to be tough. But if we don't win there, Dan, you can forget about league titles. It's as simple as that.
Listen, we don't beat Forest and Liverpool, then. I mean, I don't think
no, that's anyway. it. We've got to get 6 points.
If we don't beat them, we're done. But you know.
6 points from the next 2 games. It's no good then going and winning those 2 games, Dan, and then going drawing with West Ham and Burnley. Arsenal have got in their next 4 games.
We've got to win them all.
We've got to win them all. And I know when people say, "Oh, well, you know, Liverpool, we're at home against Liverpool," you know, so we've got to make that count. Now, if Arsenal come out of those games with anything less than 12 points, then I'm afraid you can forget about the title. That's how big this is.
Let's have it right, though, Lee, right? You go to those 4 games, you've picked them, right? Forest, Liverpool, West Ham, Burnley. I don't look at any of them and go, oh, yeah, I don't think Arsenal are going to beat them. They look too good. Forest, it's a dream to play them at the moment. They're in a mess with their finances. They're not exactly playing amazingly well. They're not got an amazing run, I don't think. Liverpool were very beatable. We proved that against when we played them before. We got in behind them loads. We just couldn't score. It's definitely beatable if our strikers are going to actually turn up. Likewise, West Ham at the moment have got injuries. I think they've got Kudus finally back, but Paqueta's out for a while and they've got problems. That's why they're making signings. And Burnley, I mean, let's be real. We shouldn't be looking at Burnley and going, oh, no, can't see that one. They've been dreadful all year. So this should be 4 wins, in my opinion. If Arsenal got anything about them, they will win all 4 of these games. And it will prove to me if we are actually still in a chance of winning anything this year in terms of the Premier League.
100%, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't put my balls on the chopping block for it. I'll tell you that now, like, you know what I mean? Like, my balls are staying safely in my boxers. I'm telling you that now, like, you know, because I wouldn't bet that Arsenal don't win all those 4 games, but they should do. And if they don't, you know what I mean? Like, you can forget about title. And if they were to get 2 wins out of that 4, just for instance, you can forget about top 4 and all, Dad. You know what I mean? It's just simple. We've had our bad run. We've had our bad bit of form. We've had our whatever. We have now got to go on a run that is going to be nigh on perfect. It's as simple as that. We've got, you know, I look at those games. I think after that Burnley game, I think we got Sheffield United. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. Then
Newcastle first.
Newcastle, Sheffield United.
Then Brentford.
Then Brentford, that's it. And then I think it's Chelsea and then the break or something like that. So, listen, they should go on now, 7, 8, 9 wins. I think Manchester City and we've got Chelsea and Man City then. But what I'm saying is we should go on 5, 6, 7 games now, maximum points. I'm sorry, when I look at it, if that's Tottenham, that run of fixtures, if that's Manchester City, that run of fixtures, Liverpool with those fixtures, they're winning every game. So we've got to do the same. You know what I mean? If Tottenham are going away to Nottingham Forest on Tuesday night, I'm backing Tottenham to win it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, so why you know, Arsenal should go there and they should win. And if they don't, then there's something wrong, Dan, about this football club at this moment in time. Personally, I think Arsenal will go there and it'll be a tough game, but I do fancy Arsenal will win it. And I do think that we'll beat Liverpool because you know what, we have to, and the end of it. If we don't beat Liverpool at home, you know, listen, I look at that and I think to myself, right, well, you don't deserve to win the league, you know, and you're not going to. You can't afford to go. If you lose to Liverpool again and put a performance like we did last time, and then we're going to be 8 points behind them, you can say, you know, good night, and thank you know, and questions will be asked. But I do think that Arsenal will kick on in these next few games. I really do. But whether that's,
you guys usually get a decent result against West Ham at the Olympic Stadium, don't you? So
we normally do, but I think things have changed, Sean.
Last
things have
couple of
changed.
games we've lost. Well, we drew there last year, obviously, in the famous title bottling situation where it was 2-0 up, 2-2. And this
Oh,
season
yeah.
we lost in the Carabao Cup. But
Beat
we
us at
need
home.
revenge against them, mate. We can't be losing to West Ham
No,
3
but,
times
but
in a row.
they're a
Jesus
different kettle of fish now, Dan, because of the
Good team
Declan
now,
Rice
yeah.
thing. The fans are up for playing Arsenal that little bit more. I noticed that when we went to the London Stadium last time, the fans are a little bit more up for it than whatever they are against Arsenal. There's never been that nasty. There's never been an edge to West Ham and Arsenal games. There's the derby side of it, but there was an edge to that game. There's an edge to the games now that the fans mocking Declan Rice. Don't forget the players as well, because
Oh, of course, yeah.
whether you look at it or not, Declan Rice has said, "Look, I ain't winning nothing for you boys. That's why I'm going to Arsenal." He's done that. That's what it feels like. So they're going to say, right, we're going to prove you. Right. So they're up for it a little bit
100%,
more than
yeah.
whatever.
Great
So
point.
those games are a lot tougher than what they should be. And that's why we've come out not winning them this time
Struggling.
around.
Well,
So,
we struggled in both of them. We have, I
yeah,
mean, first one, to be fair,
no
first one we threw it
coincidence.
away because he again threw the cup in the bin because he played a silly team. But the second one, we were all over him, and they did a David Moyes on us, and they took 3 points. Did the same, to be fair, to Spurs. Spurs
Yeah,
battered
he
them
did,
West
yeah.
Ham, and
Yeah.
they won that game. But listen, I'll say this to you, Sean, and just touch on keep on Arsenal for a sec. People tell me that Sammy McBell from Daily Mail is really reliable. I don't know how reliable he is, but a couple of days ago he said Arsenal will not be signing a striker. They're looking at a versatile defender. As a rival or as a neutral fan, what does that mean for Arsenal's title race, in your opinion?
Look, I'm not saying this because I'm a Tottenham fan. I've said this from the start when I first started coming on your channel. I don't see Arsenal as strong an outfit as they were last year, and I personally don't think that you will be able to keep up with City and Arsenal. The only way you could
Liverpool,
do
you
it
mean?
is if City and Liverpool. The only way that you could, in my personal opinion, find the extra inch, whatever, to go and cause trouble at the top is with a more potent a more potent force up the top end. I don't think I think you're crying out for a number nine that you can rely on to put the ball in the back of the net twice in every 3 games. And I don't think
If
Jesus
we were
can
to
do
get
it.
an Ivan Toney, or even a
Yeah,
Karim Benzema on loan 6 months or something, would you then look at Arsenal and go, still don't think they've got enough, but do you know what? They've got more of a chance now.
100%. Yeah. Sorry. So Sammy Mockbell saying you're going to look for a defender.
Listen, mate, I don't know how true it is, but apparently people are saying he's
Where
reliable.
are you?
We
Where
want
are
a
you lacking
versatile
defense?
defender because we're struggling with our fullback situation right now. Tomiyasu is in Asia. We've got Timber
Right.
still out injured. Zinchenko keeps getting knocks, and Kivior has been having to play at left back when Zinchenko's not been out.
Right.
They
Okay.
want another one. Bruv, it is pathetic and it's stupid. We've got Tierney out on loan, which I'd rather just bring him back and go buy a striker if we're struggling, but
Yeah.
they're looking at another defensive option, is what I'm being told. But it could be bollocks, mate. It could be a load of crap,
Sammy Mockbell, from my memory of Sammy Mockbell, he's never got anything right with Tottenham links. But for me, I guess what I think it's obvious to me that you guys need someone who can put the ball in the back of the net, as I say, twice in every 3 games. That guy is probably an Ivan Toney, but there's a few others that are knocking about. But look, it's the one position in football right now that is in the shortest supply and highest demand. All the big teams, or most of the big teams, are looking for them. January is a difficult window. On top of that, you've got these FFP issues knocking around. I don't know if Arsenal are very close to the line with that, but a lot of clubs are. So I think that there's the window itself, the window kind of the business this window speaks for itself. I think there'll be a lot of people keeping whatever powder they have dry until the summer, in the hope that a lot of clubs that do find themselves close to that problematic line with their FFP might have to liquidate their assets. Aston Villa might be one. So maybe Arsenal are just sitting there going, look, we're not going to be able to get Ollie Watkins now, but maybe there's an opportunity to get him in June, or something like that with Brentford as well. Look, at the end of the day, as much as it's obvious that what you need right now, whether or not that solution is available right now is a different matter, isn't it? And I don't really understand why you would prioritize a fullback over a striker, but I can understand the argument that there's no strikers really available right now.
Yeah, and I think
I
that's
agree.
fair. I think that's absolutely fair because unless you've got 100 million, you ain't going to get a centre forward that's going to take Arsenal to the title. Totally get that. But Lee, I'll flip it to you. If we don't do anything this window, this is our team, and it ain't good enough to win a title. I think that's been proven from last year, right? So I think we're kind of accepting if we don't try and do something that we're going to have to try and make do with what we got. Now, David Ornstein was on Sky Sports News earlier, and they said, right, we're going to move to Arsenal. What's the news? Probably nothing until the summer. I mean, one, it's deflating, but then who are they going to get in the summer? Oh, everyone. Victor Osimhen, Paulinho, Zubomendi. They're going to go look for a centre half. They're looking at Harto from Ajax. Boring. Don't care. There's a season to play. I don't care who we get in the summer. Couldn't give a damn, if I'm honest. I worry about that in the summer. Just really frustrates the hell out of me that nothing's happening. And if no one's got any money, cool. Not much we can do about it. It's not exactly flying, is it, at the moment in the Premier League? No, in the transfer window, no one's buying anyone. West Ham are the only ones that seem to have got money, right? So I get that. But then it goes back again, Lee, to we spent £65 million on
Well,
Havertz.
that's the elephant in the room. That is exactly it. Like, why have West Ham got money? Why have they got money? Because they've sold their best asset. Well, Arsenal ain't signing no one. I'll tell you this now. Like, I mean, they ain't buying no one. If you look at it, Dan, you can be as frustrated as you like. You don't go Arsenal Football Club. Don't go. Oh, we'll loan a goalkeeper and we'll buy him next year. Why? You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why they're doing that. It's because they ain't got no money. Now, at the end of it, and as I said, they decided to spend £65 million on Kai Havertz, and not go for the forward or whatever. Now, I believe that even if they spent that money on Kai Havertz because the forward that they want or they're trying to get isn't available at this moment in time. And whether you like it or whether you don't, and Arsenal are not going to go down that route if they can't get the player that they want, they're not going to have. Now, at the end of the day, the truth be known, they done a lot of the spade work for Declan Rice in January. Couldn't get him in January, but knew they could get him in the summer. That's why they went and got Jorginho. So if they do get anybody, it's going to be a stopgap for whoever it is. And I don't know who it is, Dan. Like, you know what I mean? But the end of it, the rules are the rules. Once next season's Champions League money comes into the equation and everything like that, then Arsenal will spend big in the summer. When you look at it, Newcastle, have got they've got the richest owners in the world, and they can't spend money without selling. You know what I mean? That's a fact. You know what I mean? Like, they can't buy.
Must be so frustrating for their fans.
Well, unbelievably, it is frustrating for their fans. Probably frustrating for the manager and everything, because they're short of a midfield player, but they can't get a midfield player because they can't do it. So what they're going to, they're looking at this moment to sell one of their biggest assets. They don't want to. The manager doesn't want to get rid of the two players that are being spoken about, Dan, but they're going to have to if they want that midfield player. If Arsenal want to buy a forward, they'll have to sell. But I don't think that even if they were to sell, the forward that they want is available. I don't think there is.
Who are you going to sell? Who are you going to sell to? Right?
Exactly. That's
that is no one's got any money. If everyone's broke because of FFP, who's going to pay for Eddie Nketiah or Emil Smith Rowe? If no one's got any money,
we're screwed. We're screwed.
Exactly, and that's why Smith Rowe was touted at West Ham. Why West Ham? I go back to my point earlier on. Why have West Ham got money? Because they've sold their main asset. Now, at the end of it, Crystal Palace might want to come in and get Eddie. They might come and get Eddie, but what have they got to do? They've got to sell one of their top players. You know what I mean? At the end of it, they're not going to want to do that. I think they've got three fantastic assets there if they want to. You know what I mean? But like Crystal Palace are in free fall at the moment. They're not going to sell any of them. They can't afford to.
I must admit, I've got to say this, boys, and it's quite a good way to finish on it, right? I think it's absolutely crazy, this profit sustainability FFP thing, because when it was talked about and Wenger was still here going, oh, brilliant, this will sort Arsenal right out. This will allow us to catch back up. Nah, this has stalled everybody. So Manchester City are laughing, going, we've got our squad. No one else could even catch us up. They can't spend any money. There's another few years. We've built our squad for 10 years. Newcastle, billions in the bank, having to sell players because of this profit and sustainability thing. How are they going to catch up with Man City? They're not going to. Chelsea aren't going to win things like Chelsea and City did by just spending, because these rules aren't going to allow them to do it. So for me, it's actually not benefited the other clubs. It's actually dictum, if I'm honest. And now Man City and Chelsea are in the mud anyway, but they can sit there spending money. But Man City are sitting there going, catch us if you can. You're not going to unless we get done over with these charges, because no one can spend any money now. So you're right, Sean. I'll sell Eddie, sell Nice Nelson, sell Smith Rowe. Who to? Nobody's about now.
Also,
So these rules
even if you could sell them all, are Brentford going to sell Ivan Toney right now? They're in a relegation scrap. They're not going to want to get rid of him. They need him, right? So there's a lot of like chicken and the eggs in that whole for Arsenal. Like, first of all, if you need to raise money to buy a player, who you're going to sell them to? Even if you do sell them, who have you got lined up that's willing to sell their best asset right now? You want Ivan Toney, but Brentford would rather keep him, roll the dice on that whole one, because if they lose him and get relegated, they're losing out on all the money that they would have got from Ivan Toney anyway by going into the Championship. So there's a massive bunch of chicken and the eggs in the whole thing. And unfortunately, for me, it's fortunate, but for you guys, unfortunately, I don't think Arsenal are going to find the solution this summer or this window.
Well, the thing is, Sean, right? This is mad. So we put £22 million in for this Getafe striker they've rejected, right? Whether you believe that or not, I don't know. But let's say we have got £20 million. It's not going to do much. We've got £20 million. We had 65 on Havertz. That's £85 million. That would have got us Kudus and Maddison in the summer.
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing? That 65 million is a complete. You get two positions covered, by the way. Two of the signings of the season are Maddison and Kudus. Two players we were linked with.
No one fought West Ham for Kudus. They basically had a free run at him.
Crazy.
Tottenham needed him. Tottenham spent 55 million quid on Brennan Johnson. Could have bought Kudus for 40 or whatever it was.
Yeah, listen, it happens. It's not just Arsenal, but my point is this Havertz deal has got to work. Otherwise, people will come back to it. And now, even more so, not just look who we could have signed in the summer, it's look who we could have signed in a different position, or look who we could have signed now and had £65 million to spend when no one else has got any money. That's even easier to try and get somebody in, yeah? So you might not get to Ivan Toney for 65 million, but would you get him for 85 if we've got 22 million to spend on him, would you? Yeah, you might.
The other thing is with it, Dan, is that, right, if Partey's fit, right, what's your midfield? My midfield's Partey, up Rice and Odegaard. So there's £65 million. Where is he going to play? This is the problem. This is what's going to come back. And as I said earlier on in the show, that's going to this has got to work now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, listen, Havertz was okay on Saturday against Crystal Palace. Okay against Crystal Palace. Ain't good enough no more. He has got to start performing to a much higher level than what he is. You know what I mean? I agree with that. Like, you know, and the other thing is, you know, when people go, "Oh, what's the solution?" and all that, the solution is getting your bloody forwards back playing properly and playing well again. Like, you know what I mean? Because they haven't been this season. Play a system. I tell you, as someone was saying the other day, you've got Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus. Play to their strengths, not strengths of other players. Play to their strengths. And you win games of football, like, you know. We played to their strengths last season and look how well they've done. This season we played a possession-based game, which has not suited Martinelli. It's certainly not suited Saka, and it's certainly not suited Jesus. Why? Because the stats tell you that. So for me now, go back to how it was. Get these players firing like they were last season, and maybe that will take you to the title. I'm not saying it will, but that's what they're going to have to do, like, you know, and somewhere along the line,
if it carries on like this, we ain't winning the title. I think that's a fact.
No, we've got, you know, I mean, like, well, you say that 5-0, you know, Martinelli started banging in goals now. It's a different thing, isn't it? Like, you know,
but Partey's the big one, Lee. If he plays Partey, if I see that Partey starts against Liverpool and he's at right back,
well,
I am done. I am done. I am completely done with him. I don't know what he's doing. Surely, Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. Declan Rice looks brilliant as an 8 or a 6. So it's not like, oh, can Rice mould in there? Trust me, he's going to be better than Havertz, right? Maybe that transition in midfield might allow for Saka and Martinelli and Jesus to get involved in the free flowing of football. It might complement Odegaard like it did last season. Partey and Odegaard was much better in the midfield when Partey was there, right?
Yeah,
so you look at it and think that could be the answer. It's the only hope we got. We're clinging on to it, if I'm honest. We don't know it's going to work. It's not just plot party in there and then everything's hunky-dory, but we hope that it might improve us a bit and get us better.
Well, the good thing about Party going in, he can't drop Gabriel like he did at the beginning of the season for whatever reason, because he's been sensational. So, it'd be ridiculous if he does. But listen, it wouldn't surprise me, Dan. This is where, to me, said it now and I'll say it again, this next 4 or 5 months will determine what Mikel is like. I don't know if you didn't notice it on Saturday. No one's singing the name. I didn't hear that song once on Saturday.
Oh.
So, listen, there's
it's a stupid song. Finally, people have realised.
Well, I don't know about it's just that, I do think there's question marks now. There is question marks. And, they need answering. And if Arsenal go to win their next 3 or 4 games and banging in goals and move away from Spurs and they're right pushing, 2 points behind Liverpool, beat Liverpool and all that, like all of a sudden it'll be back and all that. But at this moment in time, there's questions being laid at his door. He must answer them. Listen, he done well, got the 5-0 win. That's all that you can ask for in a game like that. But now let's see what happens on Tuesday.
Interesting, man. Sean, what are you going for Tuesday? Do you think Arsenal will beat Forest?
Yeah, I think it'll be a close game. I think Forest at home they're tricky, very tricky. I think you'll have enough, but I think it will be 2-1 to Arsenal.
Interesting. I'm going to go 1-0 to the Arsenal. Judges, what are you saying?
2-0. 2-0 to the Arsenal.
2-0 to the Arsenal. Brilliant stuff. Listen, guys, we're going to end it there. Big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to all of you for joining us tonight. Make sure you do us a favour and like and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you go over to Sean's channel on the Spurs Talk Show as well. He's literally putting out content daily. Henry couldn't be with us tonight. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's been messaging me, stressing about his camera or something. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he needs to get off of OnlyFans, you know what I mean? And actually get on his channel with it. That's what I think. Anyway, listen, thank you so much for being with us, boys. Thanks, everyone in the chat. We're going to say goodbye and see you next time. And as always, up the Arsenal. Take it easy, peeps.